Struggling to find the right marketing talent? Is there a shortage of qualified candidates, or are they either inexperienced or too expensive? It might not just be the job market. It could be your organization. Tune into Why Marketing Hires Fail, spotting red flags in your organization to uncover the hidden issues you may be overlooking. Guys, welcome to my podcast episode of Whiskey on the Rocks. This is Martin Kura speaking. A quick disclaimer at the beginning, who this episode is for. It's aimed at companies who have tried multiple methods of hiring qualified marketing people, but still are struggling and face issues. On the other hand, it's not for those who have only relied on a few referrals or haven't explored any other methods. So if you feel you've tried everything and it failed, either there were some candidates in the past and it didn't work out, or you even didn't find any right fit to your organization, this is definitely for you. In my opinion, this situation happens only when there is one thing that is wrong. And that is your employer branding. Your employer branding is either not strong enough to attract qualified people or talented individuals, or it's somehow distorted on the job market. What are the most common reasons why your employer branding is not strong enough or is not that great? Well, in my experience, the number one reason is the company culture that is not great. And to demonstrate this, I have one example. I recently talked to a company, a startup company. They're a B2B startup. And in the past, they hired quite a few developers successfully. So they had the full board of developers, and they wanted to approach some senior marketers to work alongside them and to improve their brand presence and their marketing strategy in general. The thing was that they've been struggling for a very long time to find such a person, such a good fit. And when I asked them what the actual agenda would be and what was expected of the new guy, they said handling quite a lot of tasks, so the person would have quite a lot on their plate. And when it comes to their preferences, they said it needs to be a pretty opinionated person who is strong enough to defend their strategies and their marketing procedures in front of the rest of the team members. And I said, why? And they said, because there are a lot of guys on our team who have strong opinions about marketing. And I said, do they know about marketing? And they said essentially something like, no, they don't know anything about marketing. But the person who is going to join us for handling marketing activities will need to defend everything they will come up with. And wow, that is a lot to handle, a lot to ask for. They said they were willing to pay good money to that person joining the team, but still, it's not the greatest job description. And also, it's not the greatest position to be in when it comes to handling marketing. Another common reason behind a poor employer brand could be a general lack of learning opportunities and a lack of career growth and skill development. So when there is a growth-oriented or growth-minded individual whom you want to attract, it's very important for them to have this room for growth and for further learning. And often it's very different from what the employers think to be room for learning. So there is like a disagreement between the two parties oftentimes because the candidates expect something slightly different. An example of good learning opportunities within an organization is when you have senior marketing guys or marketers on the team that are willing to share their experience and share their general line of thinking and work alongside the new colleagues to guide them. So this is a very common and very effective learning opportunity for the new candidates. And it's also very, very attractive for the new candidates. On the other hand, when there aren't any senior team members or senior marketing guys on the team, it could be a red flag for the new candidates and a deal breaker also. You might say, okay, but how do we get out of this cycle? Because to attract qualified individuals, we need to have qualified individuals on the team already. Well, the easiest way out of this is to actually hire senior marketing guys, but it doesn't have to be like for full-time positions, but it could be for a couple of hours per month or something. So when you say we have this guy who is a senior marketer, senior SEO, senior PR specialist, or whoever, who is coming for 2-3 hours per month for a workshop, it sounds way different and way better than we don't have anyone and everything is up to you and don't talk to us because we don't know anything and we don't have time to dedicate to you and to your growth. So this is a totally different approach, and it's a proactive, pro-growth approach. When you hire someone who is actually already experienced, at least for a couple of hours. And believe me, on the market, there are a lot of freelancers even who are willing to spread the love and share what they have learned and educate others. So this is a potential solution. Number 3 is lack of expectations or undefined expectations and lack of KPIs. Most of the time, KPIs are thought of as this unpleasant and annoying thing that the boss is expecting you to fulfill. But in reality, they hold a magical power, right? Because when you have KPIs, you ultimately have goals and expectations. And when you have goals and expectations and realistic expectations, I would stress, the more attractive you are because you already know what you want and you're able to say it out loud and tell it to the new hires, right? Or to new recruits or to candidates in the job interview. So it's better if the KPIs are business related, obviously, because you can actually picture the end result better than when you say we want to achieve this amount of traffic or something like that. And it's also more motivating than just striving for artificial KPIs like website traffic. It's more motivating to have like clear business goals. Like we want to sell that many t-shirts to students, or we want to save 100 elephants in Uganda, or whatever the KPIs might be. And this also leads me to the next point, absence of a larger vision. So the vision is closely tied to the business goals, right? Or to the strategic goals. So when you have a larger vision, long-term one, like we want to educate 100,000 lawyers all around the world on the topic of maternity leave, could be one of the goals. I'm just making this up, but you get the point, what a larger vision is. So even like the most junior marketing guys would love to see a larger vision, not just, fulfilling artificial KPIs and artificial metrics like website traffic. The story is not that sound. So I actually was working for an organization that lacked a larger vision, and You could actually sense that even with the colleagues that were on the team at the time, that they were not motivated. They were just, running towards these artificial goals, and it didn't work. Another reason could be excessive workload in relation to the lack of vision as well. So a lot of organizations tend to throw a bunch of tasks, sometimes an indefinite number of tasks, onto the new colleague. And this also indicates a lack of strategy. When you have a vision and you have some business goals, you want to have a sound marketing strategy that defines the tasks you should be working on. And it's not that you have to tackle every marketing channel, or, for example, TikTok is on trend right now, so we need to do TikTok. So it's not true necessarily. It needs to align with the strategy you have. And a lack of strategy and just being all over the place and doing anything that the CEO reads or just hears about, like what they should be doing in marketing, is kind of demotivating and could be the reason why marketing people are staying away from you. The next point is lack of trust and micromanagement that is connected to the lack of trust. I worked for this client who had this weirdest marketing setup that I have ever seen. They actually had some budgets to hire qualified people, but the way they worked with the qualified people was astonishing. There was this marketing director who was buried in tasks and in agendas, and he was coming up with new ideas, quote unquote ideas, and he threw the ideas onto his subordinates, like heads of marketing for individual projects. And the heads of marketing weren't really heads. They were assistants to the marketing director. And he just dumped the ideas onto them, or onto us at the time, because I was one of them. And it didn't matter that most of the strategies or the ideas didn't make any sense strategically, like they didn't fit into how the organization wanted to be seen. They were just random ideas, really, like hacks. And I heard this tactic works, so we're gonna do link building and we're gonna hire influencers to do link building or something like that. So these kind of ideas. So it didn't really work. And even though this wasn't apparent, that was actually one of my points, that it doesn't have to be apparent during the interview, but it's very easy to get this first experience with the organization as a new recruit or a new colleague and spread the word, essentially. So when you're talking about your job, it's not a good experience to share, and it also, like, the word travels. So this way it actually reaches other potential candidates, and this is how the employer brand travels through space. So this is one of the things. Also, there are a lot of people who can sense there's something wrong during the interview, or just, looks at the people if they're happy or unhappy when they're passing through or walking in the corridor. They can see the faces, and based on that, they can tell whether the people are happy or not. So these are subconscious signals that somebody can pick up and also, like, spread the word further. So this is how employer brand is spreading, and vice versa. So when you have a good experience and when people are happy and showing happy faces during an interview, and you can sense the culture is pro-growth and friendly, it can travel too. Maybe it can travel more than the bad experience, who knows? But my point is that these factors combined build the employer brand. So what I want you to take today is take care of your employer brand and avoid these bad habits when it comes to the company culture, learning opportunities, KPIs and goals, larger vision, workload and micromanagement. and lack of trust. So these are the most common bad habits that companies have when it comes to new marketing people. So hope you guys enjoyed my today's episode. Hope it was inspiring for you, and make sure to follow my LinkedIn to be notified of new episodes of Whiskey on the Rocks. Thanks and have a great day.